Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive, and it's a really fascinating one. We're going to be looking at some pretty big ideas, kind of foundational stuff that really impacts all of our lives. Things like truth, trust, belief, and even our own personal power. All of this comes from the stuff that you sent our way, and it's really got me thinking.
Yeah, for this deep dive, we want to try to boil it all down, distill it, pull out those nuggets of wisdom, those insights that you can actually use so you can see things more clearly and really step into your own power.
Totally. And the material we're looking at, it covers a lot of ground. I mean, we're going from the very essence of truth and how we build trust to how our beliefs kind of shape our reality. We're even going to be looking at this guided meditation that's meant to help reconnect you with your inner strength. There's a lot to unpack here. So maybe let's start with this first area, the nature of truth and trust. What jumped out at you?
Well, the first thing, right off the bat, is this idea of embodying truth. It's like when you are truly in alignment with those fundamental principles, like the inherent laws of how things work, that truth just shines through. It's almost like no matter what resistance it encounters, it can't be hidden.
Yeah, it's radiating from you, almost like a compass always pointing north.
Exactly. You can turn the compass all you want, but that needle, it's going to point north. And right along with that is this really foundational concept of equality and our interconnectedness. The text says it straight up, like nobody is inherently above anyone else. We are all part of this shared experience, learning and expanding our understanding.
We're all on the same journey, just maybe on different paths.
Yeah, like we're all climbing the same mountain. And so the text says that the achievements that really matter, the ones that bring that lasting fulfillment, those come from actions that are rooted in love, freedom, peace, and harmony. It's like these aren't just nice words. They're the building blocks of real meaningful impact.
Right, but then it gets really serious because there's this warning about people who they take advantage of others, especially by messing with their faith and their willingness to give. And the text doesn't hold back. It talks about the fancy clothes and the jewelry these people get by, exploiting others. It's a pretty harsh image.
Definitely. It makes you stop and think, about where we put our faith and how to tell the difference between real guidance and people who just want to get rich. That image of somebody dripping in ill-gotten gains. Yeah, that stays with you.
For sure. But then, and this surprised me a little, the text says it's okay to be compensated for sharing knowledge and guidance, especially if it lets you reach more people with good work. It's a bit of a tightrope walk, isn't it? Like finding that balance between serving others and getting something back for your time and effort.
It's about being able to keep going, to have a broader impact. If you're being compensated fairly and it means your quality work reaches a wider audience, that's a win-win. It comes down to the intention and the value that you're actually providing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about when people are negative towards you? Like maybe they make fun of you or they're jealous. The text has some really interesting advice for that. Just ignore it. Instead of getting caught up in it, it says to respond with love and compassion. Try to help them see things more clearly. I think that takes a lot of strength.
Oh yeah, totally. It means recognizing that their negativity is probably coming from their own insecurities or limitations. That's not really about you.
Yeah.
And when you meet that negativity with understanding, you might just change the whole dynamic.
Okay.
Help shift their perspective a little.
And then there's this really empowering idea that a lot of the limitations we experience in life, we actually create those ourselves. It's our beliefs about what's possible that hold us back.
It all comes back to that.
Yeah. And the text connects that to the power of positive anticipation. Like, if you genuinely expect good things to happen and your thoughts and actions line up with that, you're so much more likely to achieve what you're aiming for. It's tapping into that inner strength.
It really ties into what we're going to talk about later, about the power of belief. These ideas of inner limitation and positive anticipation, they really highlight how much we're actively shaping our own reality.
Absolutely. And before we leave this whole truth and trust thing behind, I think it's really important to talk about the ethics of donations. Like, when people give to those in need, the text is very clear. Selfless help is key. It really condemns any kind of greedy behavior, taking advantage of people. It's a strong reminder that generosity should always come from a place of integrity.
Absolutely. Helping others because it's the right thing to do without expecting anything in return, that's a core principle. And yeah, warns against anyone who would exploit someone's vulnerability for their own personal gain. It's a vital ethical consideration.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's dive into this whole fascinating world of belief, how it impacts how we actually experience reality. The text puts it bluntly, what you believe you attract. which kind of reminds me of things like karma and the law of attraction. Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And it really makes you think, The text suggests that, in a way, our physical reality is actually a manifestation of our own consciousness, like it's a mirror reflecting parts of ourselves back at us. But it's important to remember that it's not always a simple one-to-one reflection because everyone else is operating from their own set of beliefs, too.
Right, so it's not like every thought you have creates an immediate, cause and effect.
Yeah.
It's more like your core beliefs filter your perception. They shape how you interpret events. And the idea here is that what you really truly believe deep down, that's what you tend to draw into your life.
Exactly. A strong belief creates this kind of magnetic emotional energy. It's like tuning a radio, right? You can only pick up stations that are broadcasting on that same frequency. And this emotional energy, it influences our thoughts and actions. And that's what ends up solidifying our reality in a way that lines up with that belief.
And this is where it gets really interesting, at least for me. The text says that even our perception itself is limited by what's on our own energetic frequency. We might literally not be able to even understand ideas that exist on a totally different vibrational level.
Whoa.
Right?
It's wild, right? There might be entire realities out there that we can't even fathom because of what we currently believe.
Mind-blowing.
Totally. Our beliefs create this vibrational resonance that's like a magnet, pulling in similar patterns and forming this frame of reference that we use to understand everything. It's like our beliefs are these filters that determine what we even notice and how we make sense of it all.
And these belief systems, they don't just exist in isolation, they kind of group together, right? It's like they form this background tapestry of our reality. It's so seamless, so automatic, we might not even realize we're constantly reinforcing this idea of how things are.
That's so important to understand. A strong belief, it's rarely a solo act. It's usually got this whole network of related beliefs backing it up, complete with what feels like solid evidence and a shared understanding.
Yeah.
And this is huge when we're trying to change things.
Because if you want to really transform a negative belief and all the stuff that comes with it, the text says you can't just make surface level tweaks. You got to see it as a whole system of reality built around that belief. It's not just one thought, it's this whole framework.
Exactly. And that brings us to this idea of believing is seeing, which is kind of the flip side of seeing is believing, right? The text suggests that what we already believe actually shapes what we perceive. It's like we're drawn to information that confirms what we already think, often without even knowing it.
Confirmation bias.
Yep. We tend to notice and remember the things that support our beliefs, and that just makes those beliefs stronger. So what we see is already influenced by what we believe. It's a loop.
Okay, so we've explored how powerful our internal beliefs are. But what about the information that's coming at us from the outside? How do we stay centered with all that noise? The text brings up a really good point about negative news and how much we consume.
Yeah, it talks about how a lot of media focuses on the negative stuff, the wars, the conflicts, all the bad things that are happening. And the text suggests that if we're constantly bombarded with that kind of content, it can actually lower our overall energy, bring us down. It's like being surrounded by this constant hum of negativity.
It's important to be clear, though, and the text makes this point too, that this isn't about ignoring the world or being uncaring. It's about being aware of how much negativity you're letting in and not getting so caught up in everyone else's struggles that it hurts your own well-being.
Right. It's about finding that balance between staying informed and protecting your own mental and emotional space. And on a deeper level, the text suggests that everyone chooses their own path, their own challenges, and if we're always taking on other people's burdens, that can actually get mixed up with our own beliefs and weigh us down.
So what can we do about that? The text says individual, deliberate, focused awareness is the key, like a long-term strategy. Stay informed, yes, but be really careful about what you allow to influence your core beliefs, your beliefs about yourself and the world.
And it asks this really thought-provoking question. When you look back on your life, are you going to have regrets? It encourages us to think about what truly matters to us, what really makes us happy, and to not get so lost in all the negativity that we miss out on creating a life that's full of meaning and joy.
It's about focusing your attention on the things that bring you happiness and that feel right to you. And the text suggests that by doing that, you're actually helping to bring those things into your reality. It might not happen overnight, but the possibility is there.
And it makes another good point. When you're feeling good and happy, you're actually much better at helping other people. It's not selfish to focus on your own inner state. It's actually the opposite. When you're doing well, You can offer more genuine help to others. Like, think of it like putting on your own oxygen mask first on an airplane.
Okay, so let's move on to the section about navigating challenges and staying strong, keeping that inner strength. It starts by talking about how much satisfaction we can get from the effort we put in, from the things we accomplish, but it also recognizes that this path, this conscious living thing, it can be tough.
Yeah, it's real about that. It takes work to stay aligned and focused. And it addresses those feelings of inadequacy that can come up, when we feel like we can't contribute in the usual ways, maybe because of a disability or an illness.
Hmm.
It's tough.
And the message is, like, don't beat yourself up. If you're acting with integrity and doing the best you can, there's no need to feel ashamed. Even if your contributions look different from everyone else's or if you can't give financially, it's the intention that counts.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that warning about those people who try to trick others into donating, just so they can get rich. The text reminds us to be careful, even when we hear those emotional pleas for help, because the motives might not be pure. Trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Then there's this really powerful image in the text. It compares truth to a house built on solid rock, strong and stable. But beliefs that are built on a shaky foundation, those contradict the fundamental principles. It's a striking image, and it emphasizes how important it is to ground our understanding in real truth.
It is. And then the text goes on to talk about genuine love, defining it as turning away from both self-neglect and animosity towards others. It's like a two-way street.
Yeah,
Moving towards more compassion for yourself and for everyone else.
I like that. And then it reminds us that we're all interconnected, coming from what the text calls a primal source of wisdom, and that life is cyclical, always ebbing and flowing, creation and dissolution, renewal. It's a pretty vast perspective.
It is. And it points to things like the cycle of day and night, the natural rhythms, as being signs of this primal source. And it warns against complacency, saying that if we ignore these signs, if we just settle for being comfortable, we might miss out on real, lasting fulfillment.
There's that image of rainwater, how it nourishes life, and then it contrasts that with, like, destructive leaders who cause ruin. It really shows how ignoring truth versus recognizing it can have completely different outcomes, both for ourselves and for the world as a whole.
Yeah, it really highlights how crucial it is to be able to discern truth and to act in accordance with it so we can avoid those negative consequences, both internally and externally.
Okay, let's get into this section on unmasking deception and connecting with our own inner power. The text says that once you really understand and embrace truth, you can basically call upon it as a guide.
Mm.
And it's backed up by all the evidence we see in the natural world, how things actually work.
It's like having this deep, solid understanding that resonates with how the universe operates. It's not about relying on superficial beliefs or claims that have no basis in reality.
And by understanding those core principles of this primal force, this creation, the text suggests we can actually start to anticipate the consequences of our actions, how things are going to play out. It's about understanding cause and effect on a fundamental level.
Right. And it says that real strength comes from aligning ourselves with those principles, the same principles that allow life and nature to thrive. It all comes back to that. And the text reiterates that the universe itself is a reflection of this primal source, which means that true guidance comes from those inherent laws, not from made-up rules or doctrines.
It's a powerful message about inner authority and that inherent wisdom that's woven into the fabric of the universe.
Yeah.
And now the last thing from the material you sent is this overview of a soul retrieval guided meditation. It sounds like a really interesting tool for strengthening that inner connection.
It's presented as a way to stay grounded in your physical body while also connecting with your true essence, as the text puts it. It's specifically designed for people who might be going through some spiritual or religious distress, and it offers a way to turn their focus inward.
So instead of always looking for spiritual fulfillment outside of themselves, this meditation helps people recognize that powerful spiritual presence that's already within them.
Yeah.
It's about grounding your spiritual identity in the present moment, which the text says can have some really tangible benefits.
Right. It says that by grounding ourselves in the here and now, we can make better choices, more empowered choices, and we can interact with others in a healthier way without absorbing their energy or reacting in a knee-jerk way. It's about being more in control of your own energy.
And it outlines some key steps in the visualization. It starts with imagining this golden sphere of light above your head. That sphere is like a focal point to draw back any of your energy that's gotten scattered or caught up in different experiences. Then there are affirmations of self-authority and responsibility.
It's like you're letting go of the need for external validation.
Exactly, and you're consciously reclaiming your own energy. The text describes a trap door at the top of your head that lets this reclaimed energy flow back into your body, filling you with golden light. It's a pretty powerful image.
Yeah, it is. It's about putting yourself back together, integrating all the pieces and making your energy field stronger.
And finally, you set a clear intention from this centered state, and then you gently bring yourself back to full awareness in the present moment. It sounds like a really potent practice for building inner resilience and self-awareness.
Definitely. It's a tool for actively engaging with your own internal resources and reinforcing that sense of wholeness and personal power that comes from within.
Well, this deep dive has been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've covered so much ground exploring the importance of figuring out what's true, how much our beliefs shape our reality, the need to be mindful of all the information coming at us from the outside world, and ultimately the potential we all have for developing real inner strength and self-reliance. It's a lot to take in, but it's so important. These sources you shared, they offer such a valuable perspective on personal empowerment and understanding the forces that shape our lives. It's all about taking a more active and conscious approach to our inner world and the information we let in.
So as you think about all of this, here's something to ponder. Given how interconnected everything is, like we've been talking about, how do you think changing even one deeply held belief, how could that ripple outward and impact not only your own experiences, but also your relationships and even the world around you? It's something to really sit with, and we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas and reflecting on your own beliefs and experiences. See you next time.